Yes.
Oh, we're live.
In front of this beautiful quilt one more time.
I love this quilt. That's a good one.
And as we've got all this beautiful fabric.
Oh, here comes Joyce. Yay!
Here she comes. Hello.
With my coffee, I'm ready for a good time.
Yeah.
She can be the viewing audience today. She worked hard as our instructor yesterday, so today she gets to be the viewing audience today.
Oh, Barb Nichols watching.
Hi, Barb.
Look how beautiful that
Kay
quilt
Blair is on.
I know. Hi, Kay.
Oh, we just want to jump in
I
there.
just got off the phone with you, Kay.
Oh, that's fun. I love seeing your. Actually, I don't see your faces. I have to rely on Katie now.
It's true. We got Kay Holden. Good afternoon, Kay Holden.
Should I be wearing my mask just to say hello?
Oh, that is such a cute fabric.
It
Oh my
is
gosh.
cute.
This is, but there's not much left.
It's a good color on
It's
you.
not much left. Yes, it matches my eyes.
Hi, Nadine.
Yes. Yes. Well, I was going to focus the whole week on masks, but I'm very, what's the word for me? Distractible.
She is.
Oh,
know if
no
you know
way.
about me.
No way.
I don't know if you know about that. So I decided today that we did such a thorough job. Actually, Joyce did such a thorough job yesterday on giving you a nice overview of making a mask that today I would show you what captured my interest. But the first thing as I want to tell you is that if you point right down here, our Abbey Rose layer cakes came back in. So several of you have them on hold, and a few of you, we may have said that they were sold out. So if you're looking for them, the hopscotch pattern is back in, the Constance pattern is back in, and the layer cakes are back in. So
And we do have jelly rolls still in those.
yes, and we have jelly rolls as well. Just make a beautiful jelly roll rod.
Oh my goodness.
It would be so beautiful. It would
So-
also be a really easy 1600 if you want just a fast project to
Yes.
get done. It'd be super awesome. And then Tina
Look at them.
finished.
Gosh.
Oh my God, the picnic
Ah,
basket.
look at them.
Look at the size of these
Look at
guys.
these sandwiches. They're
Tina is
Drumstick.
the master. No, like this, Joyce. It even has napkins
Yes.
and little
Plate.
china
China.
plates.
Look, it has
oh
a
my
button
God!
on
And
the
on the
back,
back,
right?
it
Yeah.
says "Enjoy your lunch."
I need those plates for my house
I know.
to eat
They're
on.
so cute. And then you make your sandwich.
Look
You
at
have the
that
bread with
Whole
the
wheat.
lettuce
Whole wheat. Yeah.
and the tomato and the cheese,
Swiss
and the
cheese?
looks like bologna. I don't know. It's not
Oh,
very
could
enlightening.
be.
It's a
Okay.
balanced lunch
Yes,
for
there
a
you go.
frog.
Yeah, for a frog, and then they get fruit for dessert.
Yeah, watermelon and
And
strawberries.
they drink their carton. They each get a carton of milk.
I know. They're
Anyway,
healthy.
it's so fun. So Tina is
She's the master.
she's the master, and we do have only two panels left.
Yes.
So
They're right there right here.
yep, they're right
Oh.
there. So if you think you want
Some
them,
lucky person.
we've got two left.
And
Okay.
Do you want to tell them real quick about the 2 yards of the SF-101? Tina said she ended up using 2 yards because
Yes.
she does
Yeah.
it
So
for
a
everything.
lot of you have already purchased this panel, which is why it's actually a 2-yard panel. And we thought that you only needed a half a yard, I think,
Yes.
of
Yeah.
SF-101. So if we kitted your extra supplies you needed, we did not give you enough. We didn't charge you for too much, we charged you for too little, and we gave you too little. So you actually need 2 yards of the stabilizer because you actually put it around behind all
She
the
does.
pieces, right?
She does.
It just gives it
Yeah.
a little more stability.
If you're gonna go to the
SF-101 is the product that Pam uses whenever she finishes any of her pillows. It helps make them have more of a upholstery feel. So it just makes them a little more body. So I got very distracted from masks because this fabric came in
gorgeous.
that I absolutely fell in love with. And here is the quilt that I actually sewed. And I thought,
gorgeous.
Isn't it pretty?
Yes.
So this, instead of this being a panel, it's actually running yardage. So I just wanted to show you the bolt. There's no line, so you could go further. It's just running yardage. The town just goes on and on.
Everyone's city will be different. Some people do Barcelona,
Yeah.
some people do.
Yeah, and then the sky. Whoops. Hey, Joyce, can you help
Yes.
hold the...
Yes. I don't know. I like to see you struggle.
I just wanted to show how it's
so
just running yardage. It's so cool. So you could make your quilt bigger than what?
Can we see,
There she
please?
goes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Isn't it awesome?
Just goes
love-
on and on and
And I don't
on.
know. It's called Happy Place, and I don't know if it's because we're all homebound, and I don't know. It just
It's just a
is
happy
such a
place.
warm. And then they have a night version. So here's the
Oh,
night
wow.
version. Let's open this one too,
Oh, yep.
Joyce.
So you could have a two-sided quilt and just flip it over and have daytime, and then at nighttime just turn it over, and then you have your nighttime view. Put it outside of your window. I think you have a beautiful.
Just have to say hi to Vicky and Marcia and Jan. We miss having you all in here also.
Yes, it's so quiet without our customers and our staff. There you go.
There you
Isn't
go.
that
Look
cool?
how gorgeous that
Oh,
is.
wow.
So
I
cool.
love this stuff. It
is
totally
so
speaks
pretty.
to me. And I
So
love
pretty.
this quilt. So I just wanted to show you that I must have really, whoops, my flannel board is a little unstable.
Oh, yep, it is.
I got the unstable one.
It has a weak spine.
Yes, it's spineless.
Uh-oh.
There we go. There we go.
Don't breathe on it.
That's right. So I wanted to show you how quick it is to make one of these sawtooth stars because I have become the new AccuQuilt convert.
Woo!
And Joyce is just laughing at me now because for years I'm like, I can cut faster than you can and I'm just as accurate.
Yeah, we saw that in the race
Right,
of
and
triangle
I
paper.
learned totally that AccuQuilt is got more mastery power than I thought it did. And so when I was doing these are little finished 1.5 by 3 inch flying geese.
Oh, perfect.
And so they're absolutely perfect when you cut them out on the AccuQuilt. So it uses the 6-inch cube, which is what I actually came in on the weekend, and then I sent a picture to my staff and showed them that I had cut all this out on the AccuQuilt. And Joyce said, "Pick me up off the floor," because it's not my typical behavior. But then I had so much fun doing it, and it was so fast to piece the whole thing together that I wanted to show you how quickly I can put together one 6-inch star while you're watching. So one thing I wanted to tell you about is that when you're working with small pieces and when you're doing bias pieces, it's really, really helpful to not have this wide 9mm opening. Can you see that? Is it easier to see when I put it down? So the 9mm opening, beautiful. It allows for beautiful decorative stitches. It allows a nice wide needle swing, but it is not good when you're piecing because it leaves a giant hole for your fabric to push down in. So I don't know if you've ever noticed when you start sewing and your fabric jams right at the very beginning. There are a couple of ways to address it. The best way is actually to use a single hole throat plate, so you can see the difference. We go from a wide 9mm opening to a small single hole. And what happens is when we switched from the wide opening to the single hole is that there's no place for that fabric to push down in. So I'm just switching out my throat plate. You also have to be aware when you do put on this throat plate that you do not go into a zigzag position. So do not take your needle out of center position because you will break your needle. So the way that I usually operate is I take my 1/4-inch foot and my single hole throat plate and I put those on in tandem. Then when I take my 1/4-inch foot off, I take my single hole throat plate off, and that reminds me not to do a zigzag. You can also, a lot of machines today will let you set your machine for a straight stitch, and I've had a few people actually call me recently and say, my needle position will not move. I don't know what's wrong with my machine. It needs to come in for service, and all they've done is put a setting, they've turned a setting on their machine that they're using a single hole throat plate. So this is just a little machine knowledge for you that when you're at home and you're using these single hole tools, if you have a setting on your machine, I would highly recommend that you turn it on. Some of them will automatically detect it. The icon will automatically detect that it has its single throat plate on, but a lot of machines will not. So you'll actually need to take that setting and make it happen in your machine. And then when you go to do your zigzag, it'll remind you, it'll say you can't do a zigzag because you're set for straight stitch, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, I got to change my throat plate. If you don't have a single hole throat plate and you are finding that your fabric is jamming a lot, let me just grab a little piece of fabric here. What you can do for yourself is just give yourself a little starter piece. So it doesn't matter what size it is, how big it is, but just something that's short. Then whenever you start a seam, you start up on top of your fabric and you stitch a couple of stitches. And then when you start sewing onto your small pieces and you have those bias edges, it's not going to push down in either. I do have on my single hole throat plate now, so I'm not in danger of my fabric jamming. But every once in a while, especially with like batiks, they're so stiff that they just want to push down. So that'll help keep it from doing it. But I just wanted you to see with the AccuQuilt, the part that I have discovered that I like so much is when I'm working with these little tiny pieces, the fabric is already cut on the corner. So a lot of times when you're doing a flying geese, it's not really clear where you're lining up that outside triangle onto the bigger triangle. With the AccuQuilt, the corners are already clipped, and so then I just sew into this point and out of this point, and it makes a really easy, fast seam. So I'm going to just sew 4 of these, and I'm going to chain piece them, and they're nice short seams, so I figured this really won't take me too long to stitch for you guys. So I'm going to stitch, and I do all 4 sides, all 4 in a row, so I just feed one in behind the other one. Which is,
I'm trapped on this side. We have our studio so beautifully set up.
do you want to come all the way around this way, Miss Katie?
Go, Katie. You get there.
Gotta zoom in on those lights.
Can you see?
Hi.
Is it glary?
Oh, it's pretty bright.
Uh-oh. Oh,
Put this
here it
in
is.
again.
Oh, we're dropping
I know, I
things.
lost
It's real life.
It's always real life. I'm going to do one more.
All right, Marcia wants 2 yards of our nighttime town fabric, and Janet wants 1 yard of the daytime.
I know.
So,
And there are kits available of both the night stars and the day stars, and they're $69.95, and it includes the pattern and all the fabric. I'm going to tell you about the borders in a minute. Because you know me, I never like to follow the rules, so I had a little mishap with my borders, but we'll talk about that shortly. Okay, so I'm just showing these nice little half square triangles, or flying geese rather. I'm going to clip them apart. And I love that you don't have to wonder where you're putting your pieces. I'm going to bring out my cordless iron. You like our tool, so you guys are going to get used to my sewing studio here. Joyce even reset my iron for me. What a doll. Thanks, Joyce.
I want to make sure it works.
Yeah, so you always press these open, and I just lift and press. I'm going to do the other side.
No trimming.
No trimming.
Oh my
no
goodness.
trimming.
no dog ears.
I'm going to
It's
turn
not
around.
working.
I'm going to do the other side. Now, because I have on my single hole throat plate, it should not be an issue just to start. I don't need to put that starter fabric in again. But if I did not have it on with these little pieces and going on the bias, I would use that starter fabric in between each round. So now I'm going to chain piece this. Same thing. I'm going to come back the other direction, the other side. Oh, I do love to sew. So satisfying. It's not as much fun when I'm not racing Joyce, though. It was a lot more fun when I was racing her.
It's much more peaceful.
It is actually a lot more
and we
peaceful
don't have
without
the
that
William Tell.
overture on. That really got my adrenaline going.
Our next one is Flight of the Bumblebees.
That's right, Flight of the Bumblebee. We should play that now. We should always have some kind of fun music playing while I
I was
sew.
thinking about that. Yes.
But I just think it's so cool how fast these went together. I really put that quilt top together in a couple hours, which was so fun. Seems like the last projects I've done have been a lot more tedious, a lot more work. Okay, so I've got my 4 flying geese put together, and they're going to be just perfect units. I'm going to do a quick press for them.
Nancy, we don't have the kits assembled completely.
cut, though.
They're
They're ready
cut,
to go.
so we
They're
can't
ready to
show
go.
show the kits. But there's the quilt right behind Kathy, and the nighttime in the picture.
Yes, we have, Jill is actually going to make the nighttime, so she has all the fabric for that one. Okay, so now that I'm ready to put my block together, I have my 4 flying geese units. They're just all square and nice. There's no trimming. I don't have to do any clipping of corners. I always lay myself out like a 9-patch. So I'm going to put my pieces together like this, and then I have my squares will go in the 4 corners. So then I like to just sew down this side. So I'll bring these up, flip it over, and stitch. Flip this one over. I wish that I had like a fast motion that I could like go through all this really fast like they do on the... We have to actually record ahead of time to do that.
It's hard when we're live to speed things up.
Yeah, with live you just got to watch it go, but it's fast. This is a
Can't go
very
any
fast
faster
little
than
block.
Kathy.
Okay, through that side, I'm going to turn around and do the other side. And I don't press in between here, it doesn't matter. I can clip or not clip, but it just gives me a little more, whoops, flexibility. So I'll just come right down the other side. This is almost as good as having Joyce hand me things.
I know, it's so easy, right?
It's like the AccuQuilt handed you the things.
They did. They made it so fast and accurate. That's the part I love about it. I love those clipped corners. I have a whole new appreciation.
I'm so glad. Makes me happy.
That's right.
Well, they're perfect. They look like they were painted on
They really do. And they're so little too, which is why it's cool. Okay, so all I have left to do is sew my 3 rows together. I'm going to go ahead and press, and whenever I make a sawtooth star, I always press my solid pieces out because there's no seams there, so I'll just go out this way and out this way, out and out. And then with my center, I will go in and in so that my seams will abut each other. So in. And
It's
in.
technical quilting terms.
Yes, and
A
it's
butt.
now-
In and in,
It
in
needs
and
outies
out,
and butts,
in and
yeah.
out. But look at how perfect those points are on it.
And she didn't even have to try. It's so gorgeous.
I know, it just falls together. Then when I
Like
come back,
butter.
now my seams are going to nest perfectly. Make sure that you put the star points to the star body. And all I worry about is, you notice I don't pin, all I worry about is that this first joint is nested together. And I know it's hard to see, but you can pinch it and just feel that that is locked together.
Do we know how big this top finishes?
Yeah, I think it's 45 by 63.
That's a good approximation.
Yeah, it's a nice size.
Roughly.
Roughly, actually, it is
63.
45 by 63.
That's it.
Yes.
It's a trivia show.
All right. So I don't know if you're noticing, but when I'm sewing, I only care about this intersection that I'm coming to. So right now I'm just to that first intersection. This bottom one I wasn't as careful with. Now once this one is sewn, once I'm to it, I bring this one over and I make sure that these two nest as well. And then I pull this a little bit to make sure I can see my fabric underneath. And I use fingers as pins. I just hold. Some people use a stiletto. I've always had my fingers in it. And then I do the same thing with the tail. So everything fits nice and perfectly. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to flip it, make sure that my points, the body goes to the body. I'm going to just line up that first, hold it with my finger, put it under the machine. Once I get there, then I'm going to come get the other one, pull it just so it fits just perfectly, make sure that this is along the edge, my 1/4 inch seam allowance.
And no easing to fit because they're cut perfectly.
It just fits perfectly.
Yes, so there's no bunching or
Press.
anything. It's perfect.
Love it.
She's done. Look, she's already done.
So that was why you only have to make 12 of these, and then your whole quilt's pretty much put together. The rest of it's all borders.
Just a short afternoon.
It's a very satisfying afternoon.
That's right.
So here
And that's your
is-
97D foot on there, right?
Yeah.
I do have the 97D on.
And
Yes.
love
she
that.
has the dual
Yes.
feeding gauge. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Lib.
So now I have an extra block. I'll probably have to put it on the back of my quilt.
Aren't you a good funnel
Actually, you know
board?
what I could do?
You could. That would be so
Oh,
cute.
but I already cut them.
Oh, you
Okay,
did.
so now I have to talk to you about the borders.
This is called true
This is true.
consequences.
This is called true confessions. Okay, so the way that they have you cut the border is that they want you to have the houses standing upright everywhere. And oftentimes when I have a border that's directional like that, I actually will have the town wrap the border instead of everything being face up. But the way we presented the kits to you is that we gave you enough to do top and bottom with it running horizontally and down the sides with it running the same direction. So the houses all face up. Well, I thought I was being really clever because the quilt measures 45 inches and our fabric is only 44, 43 inches wide. So I thought, well, why don't I sew it on to the top and the bottom first, and I'll cut it at 36.5, which is how wide my inside is. And I sewed the top and bottom on, and then I went to put my sides on, and I realized that I did not have enough length because they were given to us to measure to be put on first.
She's a wee bit short.
So I'm a little short. So I have some choices. I can do a couple of things to fix my dilemma. One is I can pull off my bottom, I can leave my top border on and just pull off my bottom border and extend it, add some of this to it. The other option is I could put seams on my coming down sides. I could add this just to the bottom corner. And my last option is I could do cornerstones. So I don't know if this has ever happened to you at home, where you get to the end and you think you've made all these great decisions, and then you're like, oh wait, I don't have enough fabric for that.
That's
so
what cultures do, right?
that's what we do. So we
Yeah.
innovate. We
Yeah.
innovate. So I'm gonna wait and see what I do. I haven't quite decided yet how I'm gonna finish it up, but I'll show you.
Stay tuned.
I'll
Stay
show you
tuned.
tomorrow.
That's right.
So tomorrow we're gonna go back to mask. I just got really excited about this quilt
Yes,
because
it's
it
beautiful.
just sings to me. I don't
So-
know why, but I really, really love it.
Here's
So
the
I wanted
night
to share it with
version.
all of you. The
Yes.
night is really cool too.
Stay tuned for the sample of the night.
Yes, it'll be coming.
This
All
fabric,
right.
it says fabric for daydreamers. That's why it's called Happy Place. You can daydream that you are in that beautiful place.
That's right. Either at daytime or night.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
All right.
Well-
So that's our demo for today. Everybody good?
Everybody good.
All right.
All right. We'll see you guys.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.